And of course, we all want to take precautions and avoid catching COVID-19.
By a new strain of swine flu virus had been identified in the U.S. and other countries.
The Ebola virus is now officially considered out of control.
If you get sick with swine flu, CDC recommends that you stay home from work or school and limit contact with others to reduce the chance of transmitting the infection.
Be just a subjective, are you feeling well? And if you're not feeling well, then you obviously want to put them into quarantine.
Is that enough?
Yes, it is. It is.
If you're someone who's generally forced to be exposed to the sick or the public, what do?
You stay home.
We're not ready for the next epidemic.
It's my third year in college and I decided that I wanted to live alone, but had to move back in with my family because of the coronavirus. Everything's really frustrating right now because even the main concern on the news is just about protests regarding opening the beaches back up or not. The news has always been really difficult for me to listen to because of all the critique and different perspectives, but through social distancing and online interactions, I wanted to hear about life for individuals that weren't just contributing to a statistic, but real life situations and stories about their experiences during this time. Being able to connect with others internationally and even globally has reinforced the idea of hope and time. Sharing these stories provides more weight than just the numbers, and it's important we hear about the stories that add life into a dying society. So, since college is online, I decided to use the one program that everyone seems to be using right now to connect with friends and hear what they had to say.
Ever since the breakout of Wuhan, things were pretty intense. My sister was in the city alone by herself, and everybody was on a forced quarantine. Nobody was allowed to go out, and then I got back at the end of February, and when I got back, things were pretty much back to normal. Everybody was forced to wear a mask when they go out. That is the new policy. So if you don't wear a mask, it's basically breaking the law. When I first got back from the US, I did self-quarantine for 14 days. But after that, I have been going out ever since. And I had dinners with my family. Things are pretty normal right now in China. Back in January, I went to Vegas, and then the virus was already super serious back in Wuhan and China overall. I was wearing masks because lots of Chinese in Las Vegas. So I was, trying to stay safe. Walking on the street in Vegas, and then there's a white guy approached me and saying, he tapped my shoulder. He said, are you Chinese? And I looked at him. I didn't say anything. I kept walking, and he followed me, and he goes, why the fuck are you in Vegas? What you here for? Why don't you go back to fucking China? That's all he said. And I just gave him a good look, and I kept walking like a human being, because obviously he wasn't acting like one. One thing I'm gonna do definitely after the virus is over, I will make a trip back to the US and visit my friends. I know I'm going to Canada in September. I'm not sure if I can go yet, but if I can go, but I don't know. I don't know what plan I would have. I think I'm just gonna live life as it is.
So I'm about 60 miles from London, give or take. I know a lot of people in my area are not abiding by the rules set by our government, which is a shame, and it's why a lot of the UK is still in lockdown. My street particularly, everybody seems to be, like, they'll say hello to you, but they'll be 6 foot apart. Some of them are wearing masks. I don't get to see my family anymore, which is a big issue. Where I used to live is where most of my family is, and it's quite a long way to travel. There was quite a funny thing the first day of lockdown. I went to the shop. I think the place had been broken into. So I went inside, asked them, have you been broken into? They said, no, we just had to strip all the lights and make it look more apocalyptic. Because there's only several people in there, so they were just like, I think that was probably a joke, but they did it anyway. So when the lockdown is lifted, intend obviously to see family, and intend to do some traveling out of the country as well, to go and see friends and stuff like that.
As London is quite populated, I wouldn't say it's the most cleanest place, and somewhere that you find that you get a lot of space from other people. So it is a very claustrophobic place. My daily routine will literally be me going from my house, then taking one of the most packed trains straight to the city, which is even more packed, then going straight to my office, and then repeating the journey back, going back to my house, and now going outside and being scared to go outside, to be honest, seeing everyone in masks, and then also the thought of being home 24/7. I personally don't like it. I'm FaceTiming my friends. The fact that I'm using Zoom to contact the large family I have, where all 50 of us are on a Zoom chat together at the same time, that personally motivates me to keep going, because I know at the end of this, I can see them again and I can meet up with them. When you realize that, you don't see them as often as you used to, you kind of start missing those small things that, I want to see my family. I want to spend time with them. As soon as quarantine finishes, I want to go see my granddad in India. I was actually supposed to go to India on the 31st of May. Sadly, that got cancelled because of Corona, so I don't know when I'm going to be able to see him. I definitely want to get back to gym. I really miss my gym routine. As strange as it sounds, I also miss sitting at my desk, sitting with my colleagues, working as a group of people working towards the same goal. So the main things I'd say would be getting back to work, getting back to gym, and getting that holiday in.
When Fairbanks first went under quarantine, it was kind of crazy. It just felt very apocalyptic, I guess I would say. I mean, everything was super desolate. You go to the gas station, you'd see nobody. We had our 2-week quarantine, and my work was still open the entire time. So coming out of it, they all are out shopping. A lot of people are not wearing masks, not wearing gloves, because it only recently became mandatory. And even then, it's more of a suggestion. So it's very different. In the past 5 weeks, we went from scared to not caring, I would almost say. I think connecting with my family and friends right now has helped me so much more, and I think it helps them. It is so non-traditional for us, and especially hanging out and seeing them every day, to even just living in Alaska. I'm so much further away, so I don't think that has changed at all, because most of my family and friends don't live near me whatsoever. After all this craziness ideally is over, depending on how long it is, I have travel plans that I'm hoping can still happen. I'm going to spend a lot of time with my friends and get a lot of social interaction in while I can.
So even though we're all in different locations, that doesn't mean the overall response to the breakout varies. We all want to get back to our accustomed routines, and we will get back there again. If we made it through a pandemic before, we can definitely get through one again.
I can't wait until this is over.
I can't wait for this to be over.
I cannot wait until this is over.
I can't wait until this is over.